just want you to express any takeaways that you have from this. And again, this is so condensed, but express some takeaways, and I want everybody to hear them and share them. So, who's got some comment to make? Just come in with the microphone. Don't be shy. Come on, you just did improv for an hour, and you just did gibberish. Come on, you can't be shy. Okay, there's a couple now.
So thank you first. This was fantastic. We needed to liven up the group, especially after lunch, being in lunch coma. So thank you for that. And I think my biggest takeaway was to slow down a little bit and stop the agenda of what I want, and it's more about what the client needs to talk about, and be in the moment with them without the distractions. And my question to you is, how do we minimize those distractions when you start thinking about whatever is in your thought process, or even, just moving through the conversation a little bit. Sometimes you just have to stay there.
The best way I know how to do that is to let go of my agenda, at least for the moment, and focus on this person in front of me. Someone is talking to me, I want to give them my full attention. And that's a very caring, considerate, and loving act, isn't it? To do that, to give your full attention to this person. So I have my agenda, I'm not going to forget it, but let me just focus right here for a minute. Make this connection as deeply as I can. That works for me. Next.
So my partner and I, we had an interesting exchange when you gave us a phrase. So one phrase you gave, and we both made this mistake in my opinion. You first gave us the phrase, we just had a baby and we want to save for college.
Yeah.
And then there was another phrase where, I just inherited a large amount of money,
right,
and I want to have help investing it. In both cases, both of us just, immediately became helpful, but skip the part of why is this happening and how should our reaction be. So for the baby, our reaction should be joy and congratulations before we're saying, give us your money and we'll invest it.
Yes.
For the inheritance, it should be, okay, who died? How did you feel about that?
Yes.
Before
yes,
we say, oh, we can help you with that. And we made that mistake. We didn't do it because we didn't think about it.
right. And what does that do? That connects you with the client right there. I mean, if the client says, whatever, if you go right to the solution, right, you're not accepting, you're almost ignoring that statement. You're not quite, but you're almost ignoring. Instead, be with that person in that moment with that statement. In fact, there's a phrase that my sister came up with when she knows I do this. She said, your reaction is part of the solution. So your reaction to that comment, that you're happy or that you're sad, whatever that is, that's part of the exchange, that's part of the communication, it's part of the solution. So say that first. And when you say that first, you're not connecting with the person. You're not saying, I see you, I feel you. Say that first. And then come up with your solution that's more technical, right? That's what I'm saying. Too frequently, we go right to our brain and come up with a solution. I'm saying start with the heart connection and the feeling, and if it's appropriate, speak to that. And so now you have a connection. And now both people are aligned, and now you can say, okay, I have a technical solution for that. Make sense? Yeah.
I think it comes down to empathy also.
Yes, absolutely.
Recently, I had an experience myself where for the first time, I'm a CPA, they can't handle it. And I could never, for years, I could never understand, like, why is this such a difficult concept? It's your money, it's your livelihood. I happen to be dealing with a computer issue and call the helpline and they send you an article to read and to help fix your own problem. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was reading Greek. I had no idea what any of this article was saying on how to fix my computer. And that at that very moment, I realized that's how my clients feel when we start talking taxes. And so it really opened my eyes to, in the way I explain the tax return to a client, not that you're dumbing it down, but you're approaching it from, they don't have a clue what you're saying. And you try to break it down and put it in plain English for them so that they at least have an understanding of it. And I think that comes down to being empathetic
Yes.
and putting yourself in the position of where the client is coming from. And I think that's what this whole improv exercise is about, is really trying to show that we have to be empathetic before we start working.
That's right.
And that's the connection.
Exactly, and I imagine in the financial business of we're dealing with money and really people's nest eggs, there's a lot of emotion underneath that, whether it's fear, excitement, or joy, or worry, or concern. There's a lot of emotion there. So the more you can open that conversation up to identify what's really going on with the client, the easier you will have, the better relationship you will have. And this is the relationship business. But yes, empathy is very critical. Yes, thank you.
One more question.
I thought this was very good. I think that oftentimes I'll ask a client when I'm setting up a meeting with them, what is on your agenda that we want to talk about first?
Right.
But that also puts me in the mood to just start operating
Yeah,
and not really
that's right.
listening. Give me the answer, I got a response, so on and so forth. So what this has done is it has shown me how to, with someone that I didn't even know, to sort of understand for a new client or a new prospect or whatever the case is, to put them first, but not just from the financial standpoint, but just getting a better understanding of where they are when they walk through that door emotionally, so that you can be more empathetic to their situation.
Exactly. And in the old school, what they would say is, like in sales, they would say, well, let's start out with something, some chit-chat. But usually chit-chat comes from the mind. How's the weather out? To try to, and it usually falls flat. So it's got to be something authentic and something that connects the two of you before you get into the content, right? Because we're two human beings. We know we got to get into the content and the money, but connect from the heart, from the intuitive mind, and from the human perspective first. And then you have the connection. Once you have the connection, everything else flows so much easier. All right.
Yeah, I just want to add a quick comment. A number of years ago, I was told they don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Bingo.
Beautiful.
Beautiful statement. Yeah. Anything else? Great.
Thank you very much. This was a wonderful